Welcome to our Study Abroad Week presentation on our German programs. Today we're going to be talking about two of our programs in Germany, one in Berlin and one in Heidelberg. With me today are two other presenters, Professor Della Rosa from the German department. She is the DUS in the German language department, and Mary Gorski, a returnee from our Heidelberg program. So without further ado, we will jump right in. This slide presents some basic information on the differences between our two programs in Berlin and Heidelberg. As you can see, some of the requirements are more or less the same in terms of the GPA, the applying year class, as well as the amount of language that you need to go. There's a language pre-session available between both, and internships are available in both locations as well. As you will see on the screen, the calendar can be a little bit different, and that is why the Berlin program does not offer a fall-only term. Cohort size, if that matters in terms of the number of students who generally go on these programs, you can tell that as well, and who our primary partner is for these programs. So we're going to start with Berlin. Our primary partner in Berlin is Freie Universität, and we have other universities that are also available in this program, though the primary partner is the FU. Columbia University is our managing partner. FU is the largest university in Berlin, and all courses in this program are taught in German. This program, as mentioned previously, is an academic year or spring semester option program. All courses that you would take on this program count towards degree progress at the University of Notre Dame as well for university requirements, major requirements, minor requirements perhaps, and all courses will count towards that Notre Dame GPA. There is a language intensive pre-session that is 6 weeks in duration. It does include a homestay and is worth 6 credits all by itself. Students on this program have to maintain a full-time load for visa and financial aid and U.S. Higher Education Act policies, so you will take a 15 credit hour load. As previously mentioned, courses will fulfill major or university requirements with approval. There are writing tutors available on this program, and on this program you'll take a mix of courses taught through both the center of the BCGS as well as FU Berlin.
And I'm going to step in here real quick just to mention the courses fulfilling university or major requirements. Keep in mind that you will be taking courses at a full university. So any discipline you might be interested in, whether it's sociology, whether it is the German major itself or anthropology, you can find courses for your major. However, at the same time, it is quite easy to fulfill your philosophy or your theology, certainly fine arts. This is an excellent place to fulfill those requirements as well. And also, these courses are all taught in German, and the writing tutors in this program are phenomenal. I've met them personally, I've worked with them, and what they do is they help you to prepare your long papers, which are due at the end of the semester, and help you with feedback on grammar and structure. So they're excellent resources here.
Housing in Berlin, this is a unique program. So during the pre-session, you will have a homestay where you will, excuse me, ostensibly learn the different neighborhoods in Berlin, get to know some locals, learn some street German, as it were, as opposed to just academic German. During that time, or before the semester beforehand, you will also start to search for housing for the rest of the semester. So whether that's finding a dormitory to reside in, or your own apartment, or perhaps another student in the city who you plan on rooming with, you will be responsible for securing your own housing. The pictures featured on this page are actually pictures from a homestay from a student in a previous year. Throughout this program, you will note that there is no official meal plan. You will be responsible for your own meals. Depending upon where your housing is, you will walk or take public transportation to the university and to your classes. And then the university also provides you with a stipend or a living allowance that helps to partially defray your living expenses. For instance, rent, security deposit, utilities, and food, etc. So now we're going to jump into Heidelberg. This is with the Universität Heidelberg. It is the oldest university in Germany, founded in 1386. With this particular program, because of the way the semesters are structured, you could do either a full academic year or fall or spring semester options. Just like in Berlin, all courses are taught in German in all disciplines, and just like Berlin and all of our programs, courses will count towards your ND Notre Dame GPA, as well as university and major requirements. Just like Berlin as well, you'll take a mix of courses at the Uni as well as at the International Study Center, as well as through AJY, or American Junior Year Program. That's the short name for this. There is a community engagement piece required of this program. Some students do that in internship or service or partnership in some other local events, and Sprachpartner arrangements can be available. I'm going to turn it over to Mary a little bit to talk about her experience, and then Professor De La Rosa can fill in with the course requirements just like she did in Berlin.
Hi, so I'm Mary, and I just got back from Heidelberg. I studied this past fall, and I was involved with community engagement via a Sporthalle there. I played sports on a team, and that was for me the sort of community engagement, getting to know other people. But I did also work with a Sprachpartner, and we met pretty much weekly to have conversations and improve our German and English mutually. The experience there is really wonderful, and the courses are particularly interesting and nice because they're really well suited to whatever level you're at. For me, I took a mix of courses at the AJY, at the Max Weber House, which is the International Study Center, and one course that was at the actual University of Heidelberg. And they varied in difficulty, and they also varied in content.
So can you give us an example, Mary, of, say, what was your favorite course that you took while you were there?
My favorite course was Deutsche Politische Lyrik, which was taught through AJY, actually. And that course was really wonderful. It didn't fulfill any specific requirement, but it went towards my German major. And it taught about the political nature of art, poetry, and music throughout German history and in a wider context as well.
Okay, great, thanks. I think we can move on.
Okay. So housing in Heidelberg is different than the Berlin program for sure. You'll be residing in university dormitories, often a Wohngemeinschaft, or WG as they're known. Homestays, if you're there for the academic year, can be arranged for over holiday periods. But like Berlin, there is no meal plan through this program. You'll be providing your own meals, your own food preparation, etc. The city of Heidelberg is much smaller than the city of Berlin in terms of its footprint, and so transportation in and around the city can be very manageable, and walking is common. Spending, or a stipend rather, and a living allowance, again, just like Berlin, will help partially defray your living expenses, security deposits, food, etc. Mary, can you tell us a little bit about what your housing experience was like?
Yeah, I was actually in one of the apartment buildings, but rather than being in a Wohngemeinschaft, I was actually in a single apartment, which for me was really helpful, managing everything and like keeping the sleep schedule that I do. But a lot of my friends were in the Wohngemeinschaft, and then some people were also in there's like a building where just a bunch of students live that's actually in the town square. I really liked my stay because it had really, really good access to public transit, and not only just in the Heidelberg area, but we were very close to the train station. So for small trips, that was very convenient. Or if we wanted to go on a larger trip, it was a very short train ride to the Frankfurt airport, and then we could do another trip for things like weekend trips. And that was really wonderful for all of us.
Great. Thanks, Mary. I appreciate that. So there are special opportunities both in Berlin and Heidelberg. What we've done on this screen is simply highlighted a few, but I know Professor De La Rosa wants to highlight a few as well.
Yeah, so this is a piece that our students in both the Berlin program and the Heidelberg program really appreciate, because it allows our students to actually get into the community and be outside of just their university community, and perhaps one spends more time with other Americans than one would like at the university and in the courses. And so if we take a look at both lists, these are the kinds of internships or service projects that our students have been involved with and have actually done. And I'd like to just point out on the Berlin side, the FU Haslo Caritas, that was actually a pre-med student who was in Berlin for his spring junior year, and he was able to volunteer at the hospital. And that was arranged through the program. And he is now in medical school and finishing up his medical degree. In Heidelberg, needless to say, the most popular internship is Klosterhofbrauerei. And I see Mary nodding her head. Almost every single year we have somebody who is interning there. You do spend a lot of time out with the beer kegs, but I guess, that's of great interest. International office at the university has also been really good for our students for their resumes and giving them some work experience, if you will, in that kind of environment. And that's been great. So I'll just highlight those two.
Great. We're going to move on. So there are additional special opportunities in terms of cultural excursions and things like that. I'm going to let Professor Della Rosa and Mary talk about these as well.
So I'll just take the Berlin ones. I'll let Mary take Heidelberg. We've listed here the cultural excursions in Berlin are primarily in the region. There are always 2 every semester. Dresden and Weimar were the last 2 for last semester. Other places that they also go is Hamburg. Dresden often remains on the list because of going to the opera. Theater and concerts within Berlin are provided as well. And then the Bundestag visit is always the highlight. You'll see the picture here. That's one of our students from 2 years ago who was at the top of the building. And that happens for every semester. And I'll let Mary talk a little bit about Heidelberg.
Sure. In Heidelberg, there are several cultural excursions that are planned by the AJY itself. When that generally includes a trip to the castle, that's both semesters, seeing museums and things like that are in the area, a trip to an art museum in the neighboring town of Mannheim. And something that I really appreciated about the Heidelberg program itself was the culture coupons and the German Rail Pass, which give you a bit more freedom to look specifically at what you want to look at. So the culture coupons were great for going to things like concerts or museums or sports games, things like that. And the way that it worked is that you would get reimbursed using those coupons after buying something for a cultural experience. The German Rail Pass was really wonderful as well, because what it provided was the opportunity to travel by train all across Germany or anywhere that used a Deutsche Bahn line, which included Italy and Austria and other neighboring countries, which provided a lot of freedom. And because I was there in the fall specifically, I was able to use the culture coupons to visit places like Weihnachtsmarkts. And for the German Rail Pass, I was able to use it to go to Oktoberfest, which was one of the best experiences that I've ever had.
That's great. So hopefully with this presentation, we've caught some of your interest. You can apply by November 1st, and that November 1st deadline is a hard deadline. So 11:59 p.m. on November 1st is the deadline. Go to studyabroad.nd.edu and search in our programs for both of these programs for much more information on both. And through those web pages, you will be able to apply for our programs. So our contact information, should you wish to reach out to us. Again, I'm David Younger. I'm in the international office. You can visit studyabroad.nd.edu to schedule an appointment with me either virtually or on Thursday afternoons in person. Professor Della Rosa and her contact information is here, and so is Mary. Again, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate the time that you're spending with us. I hope you have a great rest of your study abroad week, and we will talk to you and see you soon.